Alright, so here is the Ableton session for the sound redesign. And I just kind of wanted to share a little bit of what went into this project, because there's a lot of layers here and stuff you wouldn't know just watching it. So I have everything split up into groups. There's the impacts, the sounds for Powder, who is the main character in this scene, the sounds for all the different enemies, the explosion, risers, which are just growing crescendos or decrescendos of different frequencies, cymbal sounds that I recorded, ambiances that some of them I actually created custom, and then the percussion sounds. So where I started when I initially got this clip with no sound in it was with these impacts, and I went through and found all the spots where there is an impact in the scene and kind of highlighted it and marked it with a low impact. And most of these are made up of kick drum sounds and low frequency sounds that I found in Ableton and chopped up and manipulated to fit the scene. And then from there, I go into building out the sounds in between those impacts, or building up those sounds of the impacts to give them their characteristics. So for Powder, for example, I have the sound of her grenade, the gunshots, the mechanical noises of her pistol, her movement sounds, and then like swoosh layers. Here's her grenade sound, for example, and all the layers that went into it. The chomping of the grenade and the kind of there's a little sound of an animal in there to give it some personality. The enemy sounds, something that I put a lot of time in with the enemy sounds is these projectiles that the big boss enemy guy, he throws these things. And when they hit, these spikes grow out of them. So I wanted to highlight the sounds of those spikes growing. So here, this is all just the sound of those impacts, of those projectiles. And I have these sounds of wood and rock kind of crumbling to highlight the sounds of those spikes. Here's the explosion layer. There's a bunch of low frequency, high frequency stuff. Give the sound of them falling over the edge and kind of the explosion being off in the distance. In the scene, they're kind of floating up in this barge, kind of up above this thing in the city. With ambiances and those kind of sounds and reverbs, I was able to kind of reflect that. Created some of these ambiances sounds with contact, kind of these high wind noises. Some of my new favorite sounds are these cymbal sounds, making screeches. The riser layer is low frequency risers, and then I have high frequency risers, and they kind of accent the scenes, the ringing sounds after the explosions. And then finally, I added this layer of epic percussion just to top it off and kind of accent things. So yeah, this is the session. A lot went into this, and hope you found it interesting watching my explanation of a little bit of what I did here.